Hello everyone, it's your boy Troy Gill, and thank you so much for joining us. And we want to get straight into today's workout to get your heart pumping, get your blood flowing, get you ready to start your day. All right guys, you guys ready? All right, so we're going to get into a state of what I call active rest. All right, so we're getting warmed up, right? So you're moving those hands, lift those knees, you're getting warmed up. All right guys, follow me as we go along. All right, so we're going to spend a few seconds getting warmed up, and then we're going to get into our morning routine. All right guys, you guys ready? All right, let's go. Woo! So we're getting warmed up. Lift those knees, move those hands, right? Get that blood flowing, get your heart pumping. All right guys, so we're moving. All right, this is what you call a state of active rest, right? So you're getting ready for the workout. All right guys, so we're going to get straight into the actual workout. You guys ready? All right, so you're going to follow me as we go along. Ready guys? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, let's go. 7, 8, 9, 10. Then we're going to do some upward punches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Woo! Jumping jacks, right? Or we're doing a variation of it. Ready guys? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Right, actual jumping jacks now. All right, if you want to give yourself that challenge. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Woo! And so we're going to get back into a state of active rest. I can feel the burn in my arms already and in my legs. All right, guys, so you're going to keep moving. All right, so we're going to rest, right? So that was the first set, and we're going to do 2 more sets to get your heart pumping, get your blood flowing, get you ready to start your day. All right, guys, so we're resting for about 20, 30 seconds or so. All right, you can rest a little longer if you want to, but maximum 30 seconds, and then we're going to get into the second set. All right, guys, you guys ready? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Upward punches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Woo! Then we're going to get into the jumping jack variation. That's the easy version. All right, guys, ready? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Woo! All right, actual jumping jacks now. You guys ready? I hope you're following. Ready, guys? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Woo! All right, guys, so we back into a state of active rest. All right, guys, so we finished the first and the second set. We're getting into the third and possibly the final set, I guess, based on how we're feeling. All right, guys, so move those hands, lift those knees. All right, guys, I know you're feeling it. I'm feeling it as well, but let's finish. All right, guys, so we're getting into the third and the final set. All right, guys, you guys ready? All right, let's go. Woo! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Woo! Upward punches. 1, 2, let's go. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Woo! And then we're getting into a variation, the easy version of the jumping jack. Ready, guys? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Woo! Actual jumping jack, guys. Last exercise in this entire workout routine. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, let's go. 8, 9, one more, 10. Woo! Wow. Good job, guys. If you were following, this is a very simple yet very effective workout routine, right? To get your blood pumping, get your heart pumping, get your blood flowing, get you ready to start your day. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. And we want to do just a quick cool down session, all right, guys? Right? Just to, get you back on track after such a vigorous workout, all right? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to step forward, interlock your fingers. We reach up. Woo! Nice and easy. Feel the stretch in the arms and in the legs, in the back and the shoulders. Nice. Woo! Good job, guys. Next leg. Interlock your fingers. Get your balance. And stretch up to the ceiling. Woo! Stretch up, feel it, feel the stretch in your arms, in your back and in your legs. Woo! And back down. All right, good job, guys. I just want to encourage you to drink your water. Remember to stay hydrated. Make water your #1 beverage. All right, guys, and I also want to encourage you to watch what you eat, right? Try to eat local. All right, guys, pay attention to what you eat, right? Make sure that you're staying away from the foods that are not good for you. All right, guys, make healthy choices today. All right, thank you so much for joining us again, guys. See you again next time.
With government workers having received their first bi-monthly payments of salaries on the 15th of April, an initiative which is intended to improve cash flow and increase spending power, our news team visited the town of Grenville on Wednesday to hear firsthand from business owners their thoughts on the rollout of fortnightly payments and how the business climate will be affected in going forward.
The government has officially begun the payment of bi-monthly salaries to government workers. And our news team visited the town of Grenville to speak to business owners to get from them firsthand what they think about the rollout of the bi-monthly payment of salaries and how this is going to affect business going forward.
I was very glad when that step was taken because I spent about 40 years in the States and they pay bi-weekly and that keeps business going. Because when you think about it, in 1 year time, for a person to get paid 12 times, how can he live by that? 12 times. If he's getting paid more regular then, things will go on, business will go on, schools, buses, everything will survive better.
Well, I don't believe it go, I believe it will be a good on business, you understand, because the money go float around more faster. And I believe that even for the people who collecting the money, it will be good for them too, because some people, when they have to wait till the end of the month, sometimes they borrow their money. I mean, the end of the month, it's just to pay back with their money. So them go be able to budget the money better if they get the money a little faster. That's how I think about it. Yeah, well, what will come from this, normally on a month end, I just have a busy time on a month end. So with that happening now, I know twice a month, I can have a busy period. So they go benefit me in that kind of way. You understand? Yeah, so that's how I think about it.
From a business perspective, I believe the bi-monthly rollout of salaries is very timely. Of course, it leaves an opportunity for persons to have a greater spending power, but in all of that, it is very necessary for persons to budget as well. As relates to the businesses, it would create a better turnover, all right, and that of persons having the spending power, right, and persons being able now to able to control the cash flow. You know, I believe that businesses will benefit through that rather than having to wait on a monthly basis. You know, persons have to wait before they do their shopping, but you have it every 2 weeks now, so it would be something that is a lot easier for persons to manage and for businesses to be able to grow in that extent.
I have no problem with it whatsoever, and I hope that it works. The most important thing is that people must realize, listen, it's not an extra salary. It's basically that your wages and your salary is split in two. And what they will have to do is to ensure that they manage their finances properly, whereby at the end of the month, they will be able to meet their financial commitment.
Reporting from the town of Grenville in St. Andrews, I am Troy Gill.
Sidewalk vending is now becoming unbearable for citizens and some vendors alike, a situation that has been ongoing for some years now. MTV News spoke with citizens and vendors on this issue who say government needs to crack down on sidewalk vending. However, according to them, first, the market needs to be cleaned out from gambling and other illegal activity.
Speaking to MTV News, one of the vendors explained that Fridays and Saturdays are normally the worst days to visit the town due to sidewalk vending.
You see, like on Friday and Saturdays, it just be kind of tough because when people have to like pass, some of the people does be falling out in the drain, and that is not good. And most of them, some of them is agable people that falling because they don't have enough space like on the sidewalk. So it's best the government try to bring everybody back in the market. The St. George's market is a big enough market to hold all vendors. And if we keep staying on the sidewalk, you'll never get the vendors back in the market.
Another vendor who has been vending in the town of St. George for more than 40 years is calling on all vendors to sell in their designated space and not the sidewalks.
I would like for all, I'm talking about all the vendors on the street to come inside, followed by the people in the stadium. Because if you do look at it, the people in the stadium, 95% of the people had their booth in the market. So if they come out from the stadium and they come back in the various destinations, that will be good. Now the people on the street, they have the table inside here and they leave and they go out on the street. And I come back on the table and good things happening for me. So if things happening good for me, things could also happen good for the other vendors on them on the street. Let all of them come inside.
The vendors believe if the market is managed effectively, law and order can prevail.
But you see, everybody wants to do their own thing. I don't just selling in the market. I'm selling in the market over 43 years. And I'm seeing that the worst. This is the worst. I'm not afraid to say, to talk and say, look, blah, 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 and I don't know what's going on. This is the worst.
One taxi driver also shared his views on the issue.
Well, I see it as a problem for especially the elderly. They have to use the road, and sometimes the ambulance hitting tourists and stuff like that. And I believe that they should be brought back into the market so that the government should find place in the market for everybody to sell, because I think it's not good to be on the sidewalk, especially for the tourist industry. It is causing problems in the tourism industry. And also we have vendors that normally would cost people as they walk on the sidewalk. I had many encounters with them where at least 2 or 3 of them would have cost me. Because this is a taxi stand and they don't even want to give the taxi space to park. And I think the supermarket also have a major problems with them. Because most times the supermarket manager comes out and speak to them. Because some of them sells right on the supermarket door, which I think is obviously not a good practice for us here in Grenada.
Pedestrians and motorists are being encouraged to exercise care and attention when traveling the Maurice Bishop International Airport passenger pickup area to Concrete Strip Junction effective Friday, as the road will be closed for about 2 weeks to facilitate construction work. Let's get more in this report.
As part of the airport bypass road project undertaken by the China Harbour Engineering Company Limited, there are some expected traffic disruptions to commence soon. For the next 2 weeks, starting from Friday 21st April 2023, part of this road leading from the Maurice Bishop International Airport's pickup area to the Concrete Strip Junction will be closed for construction. This project officially commenced April 2022 and was scheduled to be undertaken in 2 phases. One part of the road has already been completed, and this is where vehicular traffic will be expected to pass. Motorists will now have to use this newly paved road leading from the American Monument up the hill to the Cuban Monument to get to their destination. Pedestrians and motorists alike are encouraged to exercise care and attention when traveling the route, particularly when work is in progress. Reporting for MTV News, I am Donella Hostin.
In this report from Nikita Hostin, members of the Royal Grenada Police Force Traffic Department are discussing traffic investigation procedures. Accidents in Grenada have become a routine event for most motorists daily, with over 400 accidents recorded for the year thus far.
Discussing accident procedures, Constable Troy Paul of the Traffic Department highlighted the Traffic Department's protocol dealing with fatal accidents.
The public may have an interest, especially when a death occurs in an accident, and family members and persons are passionate about the outcome of that accident. And I believe that a proper investigation takes time. There is no need to rush an investigation.
Okay.
You gather all the evidence, you gather everything that you need.
According to Constable Paul, once an accident occurs, the investigations begin exactly when the call is made to the RGPF.
Because the information that you gather is very relevant in terms of how you go about and how you respond to the scene of that accident. So you would make sure that you take all the necessary equipment. If you have to make additional call for assistance, and you do so. But however, from the time you reach on the scene of an accident, there is something, some mnemonics we call COW.
Meaning?
And I'll start with C. So the first thing you do, you check for casualties.
Constable Paul says observations from the officer on the scene of an accident is top priority when investigating an accident.
Because you have to submit a report at the end of the proceedings of everything that you did. So observation is key. So after you care for your injured, you gather your witness, you clear your obstruction. There's other things that the police officer would do. So if the vehicle, as I say, causing obstruction, you mark the position of the wheels and so forth. Yes. And after that, as I said, if, for example, you may have broken pipes, down electricity lines, you reach out to the relevant authorities, the relevant people who is responsible.
And so. Okay.
Very well. So you call out to NAWASA, let them know we have a broken pipe. You call out to GrenLec. If it's damaged property, you try to reach out to whoever it is.
With the rise in accidents in the country, the RGPF Traffic Department is asking motorists to drive carefully on the public road and to abstain from drinking and driving. During the Easter weekend, close to 40 accidents were recorded, a concern for the RGPF.
Work at the site of the Seamoon Cultural Centre in Pearl, St. Andrew has been put on hold, according to Minister for Mobilization, Implementation and Transformation, Andy Williams. However, following questions as to why the work was halted during Tuesday's sitting of the lower house, Minister Williams said that he does not believe that the project, which was started by the former NNP administration, will meet its primary objective.
We just went up with the Seamoon Cultural Center, and we'll give the notion that we, as a government now, have stopped economic activity because we have stopped the process. Mr. Speaker, the Seamoon Cultural Center was not a cultural center. It was a shell with a stage. And we are saying, if you have to be true to the people of Carriacou, Petite Martinique, and Grenada, you have to give them a cultural center, and that is why we stopped it. So we have to debunk all those nonsense, Mr. Speaker. And we have to be clear with the Grenadian people and be truthful. Because when you know the truth and you try to distort it to fool the people of Grenada, that is where, Mr. Speaker, I personally have an issue with.
However, MP for the area, Kate Lewis, refutes this claim, stating that the original design reflects the true nature of the project, which is intended not just for entertainment, but a cultural, sporting and educational facility as well.
I'm not sure if it's an orchestrated attempt to mislead the people, but what I do know, Mr. Speaker, is that the people of St. Andrew Northeast, together with the parish of St. Andrew, was invited by Barry's Engineering, who did the complete design for the cultural center, and they were able to give their input. So while these members are making accusations of what is not there, the people already know what has been there together with their input. So it is very important that I make this point, Mr. Speaker. What I think, one more point here, Mr. Speaker, I think the members are mixing up the first phase of the project instead of looking at the complete design. I'm not saying this for argument's sake. I just wanted to make that point. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All right, Mr. Honor.
Over 50 farmers recently participated in a theoretical and practical training session in the use of farming tools and equipment, an initiative that's really intended to improve efficiency and to enhance productivity within the agricultural sector.
The Grenada Cooperative Nutmeg Association, the United Nations Development Programme, and the Climate Smart and Rural Enterprise Project facilitated a training for farmers and their workers on the use of small farming tools and equipment at the Deluxe Cinema Grenville on Wednesday. The General Manager at the GCNA is Roderick Sinclair.
The training here today is to advise them, the farmers, but also the workers, as to how is the best way to maintain those equipment, but also how to use it properly, the protective gears involved, the first aid strategies, but also how do you cut a tree, how do you cut a branch, how do you do it such that it wouldn't hurt you or hurt others, or even create more damage on the farm. But also the question is that came up today is, whilst you may want to cut a tree, do you really need to cut a tree? Do you really need to trim the tree? So sometimes all you really need to do is to trim the tree.
There will also be a practical session, he says.
Next week, Monday and Tuesday, at the Land Bank location in Grand Bacolet, through partnership with the Ministry of Agriculture, we would have the practical sessions. where the farmers would be able now to actually look at the equipment, hold it, use it, actually fall a branch, fall a tree, trim a tree, look at considerations involved in terms of which side to cut it, how deep to cut. And so we are very excited about that, because at the end of the day, this would also improve the productivity involved in a more skilled labor, and also the safety of our farmers, safety of our farm workers.
SIAP Extension Assistant attached to the Eastern District is Hortense Charles.
Today, Mr. Aaron Futo, who is the facilitator from UNDP, so he zeroed in on the use of the chainsaw. So he also spoke about different parts of the chainsaw and the different felling techniques, right? The felling of trees and how to do it. He also emphasized on the use of the protective equipment while using these chainsaws, right? So it was a very informative session, because a lot of farmers, they do felling of trees, but they don't know the proper techniques as well as the proper gears to use when doing so.
Facilitator at the session was UNDP's Sustainable Land Management Specialist, Aidan Foto. For MTV News, Troy Gill.
Tuesday marked the launching of the Ecosystems Conservation Volunteer Program under the Grenada Sustainable Development Trust Fund Incorporated. This initiative really comes through a collaboration to execute and support the work already conducted on the marine environment throughout Grenada, while encouraging people to become environmental champions. We have more in this program on a report from Donella Hostin.
It is all about getting as many environmental champions on board as possible as the Grenada Sustainable Development Trust Fund, Inc. launched its Ecosystems Conservation Volunteer Program on Tuesday, April 18th. Speaking about the significance of having such involvement was Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Climate Resilience, Environment and Renewable Energy, Marina Jessamy, who also represented the Board of Directors of the Grenada Sustainable Development Trust Fund, Inc.
And I think the key word is sustainable. Means the vision is beyond today. And our role is to ensure that we have financing to support biodiversity and conservation of our environment, not only for today, but for present and especially future generations. Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. And the key word is together. Both as a member of the Board of Directors, as well as the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry for Climate Resilience, the Environment and Renewable Energy, I'm very much committed to this process.
According to P.S. Jessamy, everyone should be involved in this collective process.
And all of us are volunteers in our own capacity. You will become part of a network of professionals from various disciplines. And that is how you learn and grow together. Through volunteerism, you may find a new career path. While it is not with pay, it brings joy and happiness because it allows you to make a difference in your community, in your school, in your nation.
Also sharing remarks and speaking about the benefits of the program was Tanya Liu, Caribbean Biodiversity Fund's Conservation Finance Program Manager.
Even more ambitious now, but that is something that countries like Grenada have actually committed to. So when we spoke about 20 by 20, when we discussed this with governments, one of the challenges, of course, is protecting or managing your resources, but with what resources? We do need technical and financial resources. The financial resources, that is where the CBF actually was born from.
Reporting for MTV News, I am Donella Hostin.
The Grenville Cooperative Credit Union Limited Grenville Branch Member and Customer Service Center has been moved to a new location. With this new initiative, members and potential members can look forward to receiving an enhanced personal experience in a more spacious and accommodating environment that'll be on Seaton Brown Street. Among the services at the new location are opening of new accounts, account support, and loan information. General Manager Devon Charles says this is all part of the credit union's 4-year strategic plan.
Part of which involve enhancing our customer service, right? Especially as the credit unions have grown over the years. We have a number of members who have aged, and we believe that we have a responsibility to ensure that we continue to accommodate them, these persons, while we grow. So as part of the strategic focus, while we focus on technological advancement and innovation and expansion, which are some of the pillars within our strategic plan, we are also looking at rebranding and ensuring that we provide better accommodation for all our members.
Some members carrying out transactions at the new location are excited and are looking forward to better service and support from the financial institution.
I've been a member at this credit union for a number of years. Service, I would say, is quite a pleasant one, I would say. It should alleviate the problem we had with a lot of persons over at the next branch. The service was prompt. The efficiency is good, and I look forward to it being a pleasant one.
Yeah, I've been a member for the past 19 years. As a customer, I believe that it is convenient. It has been something long in the making by the management of the Grenville Cooperative Credit Union. I think the convenience to its members would be great. It would improve the services, especially the fact that it is going to be open at 7:30 to aid with people that have to commute to work and so on, or have to do transactions before their work hour, which is at 8.
I appreciate Grenville Credit Union. I appreciate Mr. Devon because I always freed credit. I didn't like that. But then God blessed me with a good man. And then he says, I had us to get a piece of land. And then he said, you know something? You got to go to the credit union.
This center is also another deliverable from ongoing efforts to improve member experience and ensure that the credit union continues to meet their evolving needs. The Children's Health Organization for Relief and Educational Services, CHORS, they're back in Grenada offering free cardiology clinics and other pediatric services for children. For today's HealthWise, we are speaking with pediatric cardiologist Hosea Teague and chairperson of CHORS Grenada, Dr. Beverly Nelson, as to the importance of continuing to provide these kinds of medical services for children here in Grenada.
So we have a very condensed team. There are 2 sonographers. These are the skilled individuals that perform the ultrasound examinations of the heart. I have a nurse practitioner with me who is very, very efficient in evaluating children. And then the extra member of the team this time is a computer specialist who is helping us with what becomes a year-round activity, which is the telemedicine clinic. So the overall incidence of having a child with congenital heart disease is about 1 out of every 100 births. For a country with a population the size of Grenada, that's 6-8 children each year that would be expected to have a procedure to repair their heart surgery or catheterization of sorts, without which they wouldn't survive. And yet we've been able to achieve that. So we're very proud of that.
Over the years, initially we were doing every subspecialty in pediatrics because none existed. So we're speaking of dentistry, orthopedics, neurology, cardiology, hematology, ENT. So many things were brought, specialists were brought via the same connections, meaning that they would canvass and find physicians who specialized in those areas of pediatric care and would bring them In those days, it was twice, even 3 times annually. And as we morphed and moved forward and new providers came in onto the Grenadian team, we were able to downsize the number of clinicians that we would bring to Grenada. Cardiology continues to be an issue, meaning that, yes, we have adult cardiologists, but we do not have pediatric cardiology in Grenada. There is a pediatric cardiologist in Trinidad, but of course that comes at a very high cost. And when you think of the population and in terms of, those persons that reside in poverty, you have to provide an alternate resource, and this is what CHORS is. So at this point in time, we are focused on cardiology, we continue to support ENT, and we have the Special Needs Project, which brings in occupational therapy, speech therapy, physiotherapy, and now we've added autism as a new link, which is turning out to be one of the big concerns that we now have in Grenada.
Good morning and welcome to Rise and Shine. For today, Thursday, the 20th day of April, 2023. It is a pleasure to be here again with you. I am Oslin Crosby. It is another Thursday and we are counting down the days of our fourth month in the year. And it is going by so quickly, half of the month already gone. We are looking into our final week now in the month of April. So much has happened, but I do hope that we have had an opportunity. It was also the time when we came out of that reflective period and got into Easter. And of course, the colors of Easter is a reflection of what the time, the awakening, the resurrection should mean for us as it takes us through the rest of the year. Today is going to be another informative program here on Rise and Shine. We'll be sharing the information that we need to share with you today. We'll be speaking with a financial literacy consultant. He'll be speaking to us about a public education seminar. And we'll also be speaking with former Labour Commissioner, Mr. Lord, on the pros and cons of the minimum wage. Yes, that conversation that started yesterday, I believe, through a town hall meeting in St. Andrew on the minimum wage. What do you think should be the minimum wage for construction workers, some of our hospitality sector workers, some of these jobs that the minimum wage would cover? What do you think it should be? You have an opportunity to be a part of the conversation. This morning we'll be hearing from Mr. Lord on the pros and the cons as it relates to how that should be changed and, of course, why. So we will be having a lot for you this morning, and it's already 7:41 in the morning. I know for most people you're either on your way to work or maybe already at work getting ready to start at 8 o'clock. Give yourself enough time to settle down, and then you start off your day in earnest at 8 a.m., being able to take in or welcome customers or clients. So we want to wish you a productive day. Our children that are also on their way to school or maybe even in school already, have a wonderful day. Remember, your objective to go to school is to learn. Yesterday there was this very disturbing video that was circulating on social media. And as I always say as a parent, and I always look at it from that point, as a parent, it is not something that you want to look at. It was so gruesome. What is going on with our students, parents? We parents, let's speak to our children. Even as we're growing up, there used to be fights, but not fights with weapons. What is happening? What happened to conflict resolution? What happened to our conversation? It's too much now. It's time for us to change the tide, yeah? Change the sail. We are going down the wrong path. Our children are destroying themselves. At the end of the day, remember, They are meant to be our future. But if they continue to destroy themselves, what happens to our tomorrow? It's important that we speak to our children, please. Let us change the conversation at home. Let it be one of resolution, one of conflict resolution, and not the other way. Nowadays, it seems as though everything that's bad is glorified and what's good is trampled upon. It is time for us to change this conversation. What is good will always remain good, and what's bad will be bad. Please, let us not make them feel that it is right. If it is wrong, and not because of who did it or who is doing it. We have a responsibility as parents. I know sometimes you try our best, but at the end of the day, when it comes to them to make the decision, they make a bad one. But don't give up on them. Keep speaking to them. Keep speaking to them. I do hope that that student that got injured yesterday is okay. So this is our lineup for the morning. What we are going to do now is taking our word of the day. It comes from Nathan Frank of the South St. George Government School.
Hi, my name is Nathan Frank, a grade 6 student at the South St. George Government School. The word for today is excel. Excel means to be very good at doing something. He excels in every way.
Thank you so much, Nathan. Nathan Frank, a grade 6 student of the South St. George Government School. Now let's take in our emergency tip of the day. And today we're dealing with road safety. Some road safety tips, and I think this one is very timely. Only yesterday or day before, the traffic department was speaking about the procedures to traffic investigations. Don't use mobile phones while driving. Actually, it is illegal to have a handheld according to the law. Yes, use helmets when driving or riding motorcycles and bicycles. That is important, especially when you're riding motorcycles and bicycles. Do not drink alcohol and drive. That one seems to be a very big problem that we have. If you are on medication before driving, ask your doctor if your medicine will make you sleep. So you need to understand the side effects. Give courtesy to other cars and pedestrians. Avoid jaywalking. So that is important. Please. Sometimes I think we have lost the courtesy on the road. We no longer allow anyone to pass. We don't want anyone to come on from a by road. Always wear your seatbelt. It is also law. It is also law. We must wear our seatbelts. The traffic wardens or the police will stop you and you will be issued a ticket as it is an infraction. Maintain your vehicle in optimum performance. Maintenance is key. You must follow and adhere to your maintenance schedule. So you know your vehicle is coming up for servicing, please take it to their doctors, the mechanics and the vehicle doctors. Ensure that you are always performing at your best. Always comply with traffic rules and regulations, including speed limits. I think that one now is one of our biggest problems. Our roads remain the same size, but at the end of the day, we continue to speed and it is not working. Yeah? Do not drive if you are sleepy. Stop. Take a nap before you go behind that wheel again, and do not exceed the speed limit. Remember, it's important when we drive recklessly, we are endangering not just our lives, but the lives of pedestrians and other motorists along the roadway. And we see that now when things happen, we are going inside of homes, so it's becoming even more dangerous. So let us please adhere to the rule of law as we drive. Be mindful that we are not driving for ourselves, but we are driving for others. Remember, accidents, they are hazards, but in some cases we can control them. Let us do what we can to always ensure that we control. And if there is an accident, always ensure that your vehicle's insurance always up to date. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be speaking with Dr. Terrence Martin. He is a financial literacy consultant.
Happiness is when cooking isn't a chore. Bring happiness to your home. Get up to 30% off on selected items. Get it now, pay later. Whatever your happiness is, we can help. Court, bringing value home. Offer ends April 30th, 2023. Conditions apply.
Promoters, here is a chance to boost your event or fete with MTV's irresistible television advertising specials. Book now and be wowed with party deals and good advertising coverage. Call our sales and marketing department on 440-8171 or via WhatsApp on 455-5718. You can also send an email at mtvmarketinggd@gmail.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Pump It Up is back. Co-op Bank's Pump It Up Family Fun Walk will be back with a bang in 2023. Get ready to hit the road again for more fun, more smiles, more laughter, and lots of prizes. Join us in Carriacou on Sunday, March 26th at 4 p.m. as we pump it up from the Harveyvale playing field to the Hillsborough playing field. Then on Sunday, April 23rd at 4 p.m., we will make our way to the Grenada National Stadium from Montrouge playing field. Register today at any of our retail banking units with a minimum contribution of $10 to secure your package while stocks last. All contributions collected will go directly to the fund for the re-establishment of the Carlton Home. Come out in your numbers on the journey towards a healthy lifestyle and show your support for this worthy cause.
Welcome home.
Boyo, they gonna fly with kite now. The wind picking up.
I'm coming. Karim, what you doing?
Fly my kite.
Yeah, but not here. You can't fly kite near power lines, boy.
Why not? The wind good.
Because mommy say kite threads conduct electricity.
Yeah, kite. He's right. If your kite gets stuck in power lines, it can cause power outages, or even worse, it can get shocked.
Come, let's go and fly them in the pasture.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Grenlink, energizing our Grenada.
Rise and shine.
Back. Thank you so much for joining us. If you are just joining us, I want to say good morning to you and welcome again. It's always a pleasure to have you. Now we are going over to our first conversation of the morning, and I want to say good morning to Dr. Terence Martin. Dr. Martin is a financial literacy consultant. Dr. Martin, good morning and welcome to Rise and Shine.
Good morning, Ms. Crosby, and thank you for having me. It's definitely early.
I do appreciate you waking up this early while you are here. Yes, we know that you are doing some seminars, but I don't think they start this early to be here with us.
I hope not. I really hope not.
We appreciate your time. We really do. So you are here for a specific reason, all in keeping with that of educating the public on the bi-monthly payments that started in the middle of April by government. But before we get into the topic, the substantive focus of our discussion this morning, just speak to us a bit about who is Dr. Terence Martin.
All right, well, thank you. Well, Dr. Terence Martin is a Caribbean man, just like, I actually feel really connected to Grenadians because I went to Midwestern State and there were so many Grenadians there at the time, and I forged really strong friendships. But I'm from St. Kitts and Nevis, so I'm from Sugar City, and currently I'm an associate professor at an HBCU. I spent my career at PWIs, trained at PWIs, but then I felt a strong need after the last pandemic and the social and economic impacts that I saw. I decided to take my talents to a HBCU and just try to develop our community, and it's the same thing I want to do in the Caribbean. So I'm thankful for this opportunity.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so, well, then I guess it's safe to say then, you are home then. Any Caribbean island you have gone to, it looks the same. We make everybody feel the same, so you're home.
Yes, yes, definitely. I feel like I'm home. Definitely not the view I have in High Point, North Carolina.
Of course not. Of course not. It is totally different. It is totally different. But coming back home is always something I'm sure you welcome, because you get to go back to your roots. You feel more. It is not about being not who you are, but then you come back to almost feeling as though you're a boy again.
Exactly.
That's wonderful. We do appreciate having you here. And we know that as everything else, once it is new, then it's important. We must go through that transition.
Yes.
We have always known ourselves getting paid outside of our construction workers and other people who are paid fortnightly. That we get paid at the end of the month, and people would have built their budgets and plans around that. Now having to shift from monthly to fortnightly, it means that money management is key, because it has nothing to do with getting the same amount that you used to get at the end of the month every 2 weeks, but splitting that in two. And we have to be mindful of this to ensure that our commitments are still met, even though the month has ended. Speak to us about the seminars that money management seminar that you have been going around the island speaking to different sectors with the change in the salary scheme here in Grenada. What is your focus? What has it been like?
Well, thanks for that. And before I even to it, I want to really applaud the Grenadian government for even taking this initiative. I mean, this isn't just happening in Grenada; it's happening in St. Kitts as well. They have a rollout this summer, so I think it's an OACS initiative, maybe. But the reality of the situation is that people are justly concerned about the situation. And I myself went through this like 4 or 5 years ago when I transitioned from a university in Texas to Utah. So the point of the seminars is to basically, one, create financial awareness, create financial knowledge, because a lot of the financial mistakes that we observe is a lack of financial knowledge. And, money is still extremely taboo in the region, and people don't like to talk about money. To this day, my parents don't like to talk to me about money, right? And here I am consulted. But the reality of the situation is that the fear, though understandable, it actually could be a good thing in going to fortnightly, because what happens then is that, for example, somebody with a loan, instead of making one payment a month, could make 2 payments a month, cut that payment in half. And because of this process called time value of money and understanding compound interest, they would realize that over time, they actually pay less in interest and they will pay off that loan faster. So that's some of the topics that we're talking about. We've had a few virtual sessions for the civil service. We started with them understanding the psychology of money, understanding how to set smart financial goals. And then we went into the concept of compound interest and time value of money to really try to drive home the point that one session isn't going to make you an expert, but we suggested apps and tools that could be used and integrated in order to see that you run the numbers, some of these things could actually be in your best interest. This change could be in your best interest.
I have been following the conversations online because, whenever people are empowered with knowledge, they would share. And I think that is one of the pros of social media. And I did see the comment on that of being able to pay before the month end, which is the scheduled time that your loan should be paid according to the agreement that you signed. Now paying before the end of the month, it means that you're paying towards your principal. So it therefore means that, yes, you are now breaking down the loan faster and paying less interest, as you rightfully said. With that now, you spoke about the psychology of money. And, as you continue to read, you're exposed a bit more, you hear about taking care of money. And you are so right when you made the comment. I had to smile. Our parents never, ever speak about money. And I think we have taken this thing out of that stage. It's a Caribbean thing, it appears. We never want to talk about money. And you recognize that it affects everything after that. You meet someone, you start a relationship, finances is never the first thing you speak about. It's all about trying to make a good impression. But at the end of the day, it plays an important part. I want us to speak about the psychology of money.
Okay. Well, we have 2 different types of people. We have those who are present-oriented and those who are focused-oriented. And in my own research, I've gone down this road of trying to classify these individuals and look at what the financial impact or financial decisions are. So one of the things I did in the virtual sessions that we'll do again while I'm on island is a money personality test. And I kind of likened it to the marshmallow experiment that was done well over 60 years ago that offered a marshmallow, a simple candy, to 4-year-olds and told them, hey, if you wait 15 minutes, you could get 2, right? And what you really saw is that, some children, some of these 4-year-olds, you could imagine they played with it, they licked it, some ate it within like 10 seconds. And this study has been replicated in different countries, even in Colombia. I remember seeing one video on that. And what they did is follow these same children for about 18 years to see what happened. Because what they saw is that the marshmallow represented self-control and self-discipline in a sense, right? It's an association, not necessarily causation, but it's the same thing. So the money personality that I did took these adults, which was really cool, varying ages in the civil service, and took them back to their 4-year-old self and said, basically, would you have eaten the marshmallow? It was 12 questions that dealt with whether or not, instant gratification was a thing for you. Are you thinking about the future with things like retirement? How well are you using credit cards? Credit cards are running the Caribbean right now, right? Especially in the rise of online shopping. And then the implications of having these credit cards where we have a higher willingness to even pay, but to pay more than we would if we were using cash, right? So it's a slippery slope. So that's what the conversations have been really focused on the psychology of money. I could talk about that all day, but we focus using a money personality tool, which I encourage and I'm going to share with the government to distribute, because this thing is just talking to those people in the conferences. That's not it. This has to be island-wide. These conversations could be a Friday night at-home activity where you talk to your children, you ask them these same questions, and then you have these conversations, because our views of money affects our borrowing decisions and our investment decisions.
Yes, that is so true. And one of the things that we also recognize is money dictates everything else. Money dictates everything else. If you don't have money, then you're stressed. Your health goes down. You don't have money, then you cannot get the essentials that you need just to make it. And oftentimes you hear that once you bring up the money conversation, but it seems as though all you're looking for is money. That is not the case. It is a critical, very, very critical part. I'm seeing here that some of the other topics that you covered is that of financial goal planning, personal financial statements, using credit wisely. I think we briefly touched on that with the credit card issue. Increasing your financial space. In Grenada, we have heard it because there's legislation here that speaks to our financial space, what we can and cannot do. And oftentimes, everybody thinks that, okay, so this is there, why can't we touch it? I think it takes us back to when we were children and our parents spoke to us about saving for the rainy day. You don't just spend because you see it, but you hold on because you need to prepare for that time that may just pop up on you.
Yeah. The reality is that money has a cost. And actually, let me go back. And I don't want to be controversial here, but my first experience financially with Grenada was SGL Holdings. I'm not sure if you remember that. I took my tuition money when I was in college and I invested because I was seeking these massive returns. And then what I realized is that all that glitters is not gold, right? So here, I think having gone through a situation like that, the population, understandably, maybe a little bit hesitant when it comes to like investing and investment options, right? So what we really want to still emphasize is that money has a cost. That cost is inflation, and because our dollar is pegged to the U.S. dollar, we will then to reflect the inflationary environment that is established in America, right? So right now, the inflation in America is 6 to 8%. And therefore, in Grenada, it's probably closer to 10 to 12, right? Even though they say it's going to be 6 to 8. So that means then if you have $100 this year, next year, the value of your $100 might actually be 90. And you could see this just by going to the supermarket, right? I'm not even talking about gas because that's different, right? But just walking into a supermarket, you could see the difference year over year. So even though we may not be really open to investing, for example, we can't afford not to invest. We have to at least make inflation to maintain purchasing power, because then you could be the best of savers and you've worked for 30 years and you've saved 20-30% of your income, and guess what, in 20-30 years you only could buy maybe 60% of what you could have bought on day one. So we have to maintain that purchasing power. But also too, when it comes to borrowing, right? High cost of borrowing is a thing. We've seen the rise of payday loan companies in the Caribbean. Why? Because they fill a needed space. People need access to capital. And on a regional scale, we need to find ways in which to make capital less expensive. We could liken this to some of our Asian counterparts, where their governments make access to capital a lot easier. And obviously with small developing countries, we don't have the similar resources. However, we have to find ways in which to make the cost of locals doing business more attractive, right? Because a business is an investment. A business is an investment. And I also wanted the participants to know, and while I'm here to know, that we have options in the Caribbean to invest. The Jamaican Stock Exchange was one of the best performing stock exchanges in the world over the last 3 or 5 years when it comes to return on investment. And so many people don't know that. And as CARICOM nationals, we're able to then open our accounts in Jamaica and invest. Now, maybe you don't have the lump sum to invest in, but the technology has made that even better, right? We could do fractional shares. A Grenadian can invest in the United States now using a broker. You could buy fractional shares. You like Tesla, you like Apple, you could buy a 1% of 1% of Apple, right? Now, obviously, this is a simplified explanation, but it is possible. And that's one of the things I shared with the participants on the session so far, that these are your options outside of traditional real estate. And even in traditional real estate, if you go to the loan bank for a mortgage right now, add an extra apartment. You know why? That cuts the amount of money that you have to pay back. And it's probably going to cost not that much more. And the income from that apartment will help to lower what the banks use, your debt to income ratio, and allow you to actually get a little bit more loan. The problem is sometimes people overbuild, right? So when we have the situations like the pandemic in countries like ours that depend on education, tourism, that's why I call these foreign universities that do medical or vet schools, we tend to overbuild. And when we have situations like the pandemic where our main customer is no longer on island, then we have these massive mortgages. And the reality is sometimes people don't understand a dollar is better than no dollars. So, like, for example, in St. Kitts, we saw people unwilling to lower rent. I'm not sure if it was the case here during the pandemic. They rather their rooms stay empty in hope that somebody will come than accepting a lower rental cost. So it's a fine line, but again, moderated by our psychology towards money.
Yep. And as we speak to all of this, tying it back to that of the bi-monthly payments now that government is offering, you have spoken about investment opportunities. We have spoken about changing the way we see money, control, which is critical because we must be responsibly using credit cards. And so the lowering of interest, how much interest you would pay as you pay monthly, you pay bi-monthly. So it means that you lower in the principal, which lowers your interest rate. It means, therefore, that you should have a little bit more in your hand to spend. And I know that was one of the focus of government, giving people a bit more of a spending power. So you get paid at the middle of the month and you get paid at the end of the month. It means that we should have a little bit more economic activity. But that economic activity, as we would both agree, can only be there if we exercise control, and that is critical.
It is. That's the hope. The end goal here is that you save. And so, for example, by compound interest focuses on frequency, right? So when it comes to debt management, especially, we have to understand how debt is calculated. If it's a revolving debt like a credit card, we get an interest or finance charge daily. Same thing with mortgages. Auto payments, maybe not so much because they tend to go out on a monthly basis. But those, let's look, for example, like a credit card or a mortgage. By paying more frequently, even though it's the same payment total in a month's time, you reduce the like you said, the principal and the total interest. So what that really is, what the message really is there is that paying debt is a form of savings. Paying debt is a form of savings, especially if the interest cost on the debt is higher than, say, an investment. So if you were to ask me, the power goes two ways. No, you pay it twice a month. You have the power to compound twice a month on either side, right? The debt side, so you could reduce the overall cost and impact of debt, but you also have the power to invest more frequently, which will also help your balances to grow faster, right? But there still is a decision here that you have to evaluate what's the cost and interest on the debt versus what the cost and interest on the investment opportunity. And we always want to pay the one, if the interest or the debt has a higher interest than what we could get from the investment opportunity, we want to pay the debt, because paying debt is a form of savings. So even though in the short run, one might feel like, hey, well, I'm not really saving that much. You have to think long term, right? When it comes to money, is we have to make short-term sacrifices for long-term gain and longevity, right? Think about retirement. What we're doing when we invest, for example, is we're taking money from a period where spending an extra dollar really doesn't make us feel that better. For example, a hot day, and we take a cold glass of water, and what do you see? Like, you feel refreshed, but the more you drink, the less satisfaction you derive. That's true with spending as well. There's a point at which where spending an extra dollar diminishes the satisfaction we get. So we move that dollar to the future. That's why it's so important to invest, and not just for the civil service that's making this change. This is necessary for the whole island, for the whole region. Right? We have to move dollars to retirement in the absence of a properly well-structured capital market, right? The Eastern Caribbean Stock Exchange, they're trying, but it's not liquid, right? We see a lot more activity in the bond market for regional government's debt than we see in the equity side of it, which is owning company stock, right? We're not even going to go down that road, Ms. Crosby, but there is opportunities here. And I think in the long run, this is going to be better for the people of Grenada.
Yes, from your explanation of it, it will be, but as everything else, I guess we have to settle down to this
Growing
new,
pains. Yeah.
to this
Growing.
new form of payment, and I do hope that we will see it. I know, and that is often our problem when you have a very expectorant citizenry. It means that they don't wait. There is no patience waiting to see what happens. But you expect it now. It does not happen now. As everything else, it needs time to build and grow on people. The business community will need to see it because, for one, and you would also wait to measure to see what happens. Is there actually an increase? So maybe I should increase in my ordering, what I put out, when I put it out, how I order, what I do. But we need to give things time to grow before we become very critical without any evidence of it. And I think that is important with money as everything else.
On paper, I understand that completely, that it seems like, well, hey, I'm used to one check that paid me $2,000. Now I'm going to get $1,000 here. Well, what happens? I have my loan that's due, whatever. Listen, the reality is you have to talk to your creditors, right? These decisions aren't made in vacuums, right? So they would have, the government would have held consultations with financial institutions. They have a position there. And again, even at the end of the month, you're going to still pay the same thing, right? But if you have a concern, for example, the due date and stuff like that, talk to your financial institution and find something, explain your situation, and find something that works best for you. A lot of times, creditors are seen as evil. Oh, I got to pay them back their money. We love them when they gave it to us, but paying back, I mean, no one likes to pay back debt. No one likes to pay back loans, right? That's just the reality. It's human nature. But conversation. So this is, look, the Grenadians are blessed because, as I said, this ain't happening nowhere else, at least not to my knowledge. So this is a big deal, and I think the government should be commended on this step. I'm not trying to play politics. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying completely, for somebody that's passionate about this, I understand the situation here. I mean, financial literacy, we rank poorly in the world. If you were to rank us against the 220 or so countries, I think Jamaica was like, what, either 81st or 133rd in the world. And, you know, again, I just said Jamaica has one of the best stock exchanges, right? So there's a lot more financial acumen within that society than, say, the Eastern Caribbean. But we have hope, right? We're going to get there eventually, is my honest hope.
Yes, we will. As we conclude, I wanted to share just some reminders with us on this bi-monthly payment, because I know government's thrust is that, with the hope that it would not just be within the public sector, but it would gradually be introduced to the private sector. With that, it means that we are revolutionizing our entire society as well. It's the money management, control, and its use. Also, how it can make your life easier in retirement. So just share some tips with us as we conclude. Thanks.
So just some concluding tips. Talk about money. Let's break this ridiculous cycle where we tell our kids, oh, you think I make a money? Cash money don't grow on trees. Explain where money actually grows from, and explain that this is the importance of school. You go to school, you learn, so you come to the job market and then you exchange your human capital for financial capital, because that's what education and experience is. Then you're paid financial capital, and then now we have a decision to make every step. Do you spend $1 or do you save $1? And what's the implication each way? So have conversations. Understand the psychology of money. Understand why one parent is a spender and one parent is a saver. Financial vulnerability is a thing. Financial stress is a thing. Stressing about money and paying the next bill could make you sick, right? We see a lot of college dropouts as a result of that, right? Financial stress. We see an increase in divorces because of financial stress, right? So we have to have these conversations. We have to start young. Investing $1 at 20 is more powerful than investing $1 at 35. I demonstrated on the one of the seminars, there was a young lady that saved for 10 years and never saved another $1 compared to somebody else that started 10 years later and saved for 30 years. And she ended up with over $100,000 more using an interest rate of 8%. That's just the reality and the power of compound interest. Learn about compound interest. Download the Easy Calculator app. Learn about time value of money. These are critical tools that you could use to just understand our financial life. And then the final thing is there's an app called Blue Coins, which was actually referred to me by your permanent secretary in finance. And Blue Coins is a powerful tool just to visualize our financial position. The thing about financial planning and financial advice, most people wait until it's too late. Don't wait until something is done to you. Let's be proactive now and understand our financial positioning. And yeah, I'm not saying you don't have to be rich to actually pay attention to what's going on in your financial life, right? In fact, that's how the rich got rich. They understood the psychology of money and they understood how to use other people's money to make them money. And we have to get rid of this notion that debt is bad. Debt is not bad, right? The use of debt is bad. And money is not evil. The use of money is evil. We have to break those taboo and proverbial comments that we've been saying for centuries, because honestly, that's part of one of the reasons why we are kept down as a people. I'm not talking about Grenadians, I'm talking about people that look like us, because these messages only exist within our communities, more so. We don't see it in others.
That is so, so true. Thank you so much, Dr. Martin.
Thank you for having me.
I wish you could have spoken all morning, because I think it's important that we empower our people through these means so that we change cultures. Because if we are to move forward, I keep saying if we use the same methodology but expect a different outcome, it would never happen. We have to change everything in order for us to get better outcomes. And,
Yes,
we
ma'am.
have to start each day. And it's people like me and yourself that will make the difference when we share information and we empower people, we open up their minds. And
Yes.
once we do that, it means that we are closer, not further away from the goal of us achieving that people becoming more independent financially. And at the end of the day, we know that our countries would blossom.
Yes, ma'am. That's exactly it. That is exactly it. So intentionality and giving ourselves grace, because we will make mistakes.
We learn from them.
Yes.
We learn
All right.
from them. Thank you so much. Have yourself a wonderful day and do enjoy your time here in Grenada. I know you feel at home as if you're in St. Kitts. Enjoy it, every bit of it.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Have
Thank
a great
you
day
for
as well.
sharing your knowledge with us. Have a great day.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. That was Dr. Terence Martin, a financial literacy consultant here on the island, speaking to people about money management. It's a seminar, an ongoing virtual seminar that he is doing with us. And it coincides with that of government's bi-monthly payment. Educating public sector workers, because that has started in the public service, on how you can better use money. Now you're getting paid twice per month. What are the benefits? What are the pros of this? Also, what are some of the cons, but more so, how you can be better by knowing and being responsible and having control. Remember, everything that we want, we have to work hard for, yes? but it comes only through discipline and control, being responsible. We are sent to school, we study tirelessly, at the end of the day we earn a degree, but we come out in the workplace and we make a difference, and then we can see it being multiplied in our hands with our salaries or whatever it is. We are remunerated at the end of the month. The same applies to our money. You go out there, you work for it, you collect it, but if you spend it or you use it recklessly, at the end of the day you will not have anything to invest. So think about it. Yes, we spend, yes, but we save also, and we also look for opportunities to invest. How we can make money work for us? Change our attitudes about money. Some people, whenever you speak about money, you get vexed. No, you're not attracting it. I think you are repelling it. You're sending it away. As I heard someone say, you have to take care of money. I know someone who irons their money. You keep it in your pocket. You take care of it. It's the same thing that happens. It goes back again. The little psychological behavioral changes that changes overall how we think and see money, and then we can better attract. Dr. Martin spoke about it, intentionality, yes? The power of intention. How do you then attract that which you wish to, you desire? Try it, research it, try it, and see what's the outcome. So what we're going to do is take a quick break. When we come back, we should be speaking with Mr. Reginald Lord on the minimum wage consultations that are ongoing. We'll be back shortly.
Boy, they gonna fly with kite now. The wind picking up.
I'm coming. Karim, what you doing?
Fly my kite.
Yeah, but not here. You can't fly kite near power lines, boy.
Why not? The wind good.
Because mommy say kite threads conduct electricity.
Yeah, kite. He's right. If your kite gets stuck in power lines, you can cause power outages, or even worse, it can get shocked.
Come, let's go and fly them in the pasture.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Grenlink, energizing our Grenada.
Rewind selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector.
Promoters, here is a chance to boost your event or fete with MTV's irresistible television advertising specials. Book now and be wowed with party deals and good advertising coverage. Call our sales and marketing department on 440-8171 or via WhatsApp on 455-5718. You can also send an email at mtvmarketinggd@gmail.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Rise and shine. Rise and shine. Rise and shine.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for being here with us again. If you missed our first conversation, you missed a lot. We spoke there with Dr. Terence Martin. He's a Kititian national who is one of the lecturers at one of the universities out there in the U.S. He is here educating the public on how we can maximize that of bi-monthly payments so we can better use it. What are some of the benefits? But more so understanding ourselves and the use of money, money personalities. You know, we as people and how we relate to money, what we do with money, that kind of thing. Very, very important and interesting discussion this morning with Dr. Martin there on monies. I hope, though, as I always say, we cannot capture everything in the morning. But what it does, what should happen, is that it would open up our minds and then encourage us to do a bit more research on the same topic and how we can then adapt it to suit us and our needs. And that is what I hope we can do from these discussions. So what we do is give you broad-based information. We would zoom in as much as we can, but we know that time will not permit us to just have a seminar as you would have doing the virtual or in-person sessions. But what we want you to do is use the time to understand on your own how you can make this work for you. Yeah. So we should be speaking now to Mr. Reginald Lord. He's a former acting Labour Commissioner. Mr. Lord, I'm seeing you on. I'm not sure if you can hear us. If you can, please turn on your camera and unmute your mic. We are speaking now. We should be speaking about the minimum wage consultations that are ongoing. The Minimum Wage Committee is chaired by Dr. Curlin Gilchrist, and it commenced a consultation yesterday. I saw part of that live audio yesterday on GIS, but I am not hearing or seeing Mr. Lord on, not as yet. I do hope that he's hearing us and that he can join us soon, so we can speak about the pros and cons to this. The minimum wage, the Attorney General, which is the Minister for Legal Affairs, Labour and Consumer Affairs, Senator the Honourable Claudette Joseph, mandated the Wage Advisory Committee under the chairmanship of Dr. Curlin Gilchrist to commence a series of consultations with major stakeholders with a view to revising Grenada's minimum wage, as well as broaden the scope of the minimum wage order. The Wage Advisory Committee was reconstituted on September 1, 2022 for the period of 3 years and was set up to address the minimum wage in Grenada, which was not reviewed for the past 11 years. The review of the minimum wage is one of government's priorities and is aligned to the National Sustainable Development Goal 2, which is vibrant, dynamic, competitive economy with supporting climate and disaster resilient infrastructure, and Sustainable Development Goals 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 10. Not 6, 1, 3, 4, 5, 8, and 10. So this morning, Mr. Lord, as a former, he was the acting Labour Commissioner and has worked in the Ministry of Labour. So Mr. Lord has a wide array of knowledge on our minimum wage. And we was, but I'm not seeing Mr. Lord on. So I think that we would have to reschedule that interview so that we can get an appreciation as to what's happening. But what I would encourage the public to do is, virtually, it's all these consultations are showed on GIS. Yeah? Try to pick up on the schedule and join in on the live and listen. Because while, yes, you may not be able to attend one of these consultations, I think that's one of the plus of COVID. Yeah? We're not speaking to the bad side, but that of the introduction of the virtual world to us here. Since COVID, we now have a blended approach, rather, to doing things. You can be there in person. If you're unable to attend in person, then you can attend virtually. So these sessions are on GIS Facebook page and also on the channel if you have cable. Follow them. Give your contribution in the comments below. Instead of us constantly making, comments, sometimes I believe that we don't need to share. We can make our contributions there. So you're trying to get an idea as to what should be the minimum wage for a construction worker. Make your contribution there. I'm sure they will be noted because the people who are the committee will be going back to that information as it will form part of the information gathering process. Use that information to help shape the way forward. How do you chart the way forward for what would be a more comfortable minimum wage for everyone? Yeah. So I encourage all to be a part of the conversation. Remember, these consultations are held so that we can give an input in the things that matter and the things that will affect us. If you have an opportunity to share and give an input, it does not always happen, take advantage of it. Share. Say something that would make a difference. You cannot tell. Remember, sitting back, not saying anything, and then criticizing after, you are not making a meaningful contribution. You're just making noise in that case. I think it's better that you contribute and you wait to see where it goes. Yeah? At the end of the day, it may not affect you directly, but it may change another person's life. A family member, a neighbor, a friend. At the end of the day, this is Grenada. It is our home. And if we can do anything to make this life on this beautiful rock of ours better, why not? Why not? Mr. Lord, anything before we wrap up? It's 28 minutes past 8 o'clock, but I am still not. We are still not getting through with Mr. Lord. So what we'll do is reschedule that interview, and we will have that conversation on the minimum wage with Mr. Lord. Next Tuesday, we would aim to do so that we can have that very important conversation. So, our guest, Dr. Terence Martin, I want to say thank you so much to you this morning for sharing with us. Our second interview, we will reschedule for next Tuesday because we seem to be having a bit of a technical glitch there with that one. We are not connecting. And to all our viewers, thank you so much for always being here with us. We do appreciate you always being here. Also sharing your comments, suggestions. Please continue to share them. They are reaching us, and we will be working towards modifying it. Remember, it's a bit dusty outside. It is dry. I know for people who have sinuses and the allergies, it is raising it, and it's making life a bit uncomfortable. But what I do advise is that we top up on your medication, take it before you realize the signs are coming on, attack it early so that you can suppress the symptoms. It can be very, very uncomfortable when they decide to just wake up on you when you least expect them. So take care of the little ones that may have allergies, also asthma. We know it can happen. Let's do what we need to do to ensure that we stay safe, yeah? And please, parents, let's continue to speak to our children. Speak to our children. Remember, they are a responsibility even when they are adults. So parenting never ends. But the decisions and the conversations and the principles and virtues that we share today determine the kind of adult that they become tomorrow. It does not always go that way, but it's best that you do it with hope that it will be that way, than you don't do it and expect a miracle. Let's play our part, yeah, and make a contribution today. The team, thank you so much, Elton, Sugars, Tanya, another program. Thank you so much to everyone. Corporate Grenada always supporting. Thank you again. The extended MTV family, always a pleasure. To all our viewers, have a great day. Remember, stay safe. Do what you need to do. And always remember, each day you have an opportunity, another opportunity to be a better version of yourself. Be your best self each day. I'm Oslin Crosby, wishing everyone a fantastic one. We see you again on Tuesday next week.
Happiness is when cooking isn't a chore. Bring happiness to your home. Get up to 30% off on selected items. Get it now, pay later. Whatever your happiness is, we can help. Court, bringing value home. Offer ends April 30th, 2023. Conditions apply.
Promoters, here is a chance to boost your event or fete with MTV's irresistible television advertising specials. Book now and be wowed with party deals and good advertising coverage. Call our sales and marketing department on 440-8171 or via WhatsApp on 455-5718. You can also send an email at mtvmarketinggd@gmail.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Pump It Up is back. Co-op Bank's Pump It Up Family Fun Walk will be back with a bang in 2023. Get ready to hit the road again for more fun, more smiles, more laughter, and lots of prizes. Join us in Carriacou on Sunday, March 26th at 4 p.m. as we pump it up from the Harveyvale playing field to the Hillsborough playing field. Then on Sunday, April 23rd at 4 p.m., we will make our way to the Grenada National Stadium from Montrouge playing field. Register today at any of our retail banking units with a minimum contribution of $10 to secure your package while stocks last. All contributions collected will go directly to the fund for the re-establishment of the Carlton Home. Come out in your numbers on the journey towards a healthy lifestyle and show your support for this worthy cause.
Welcome home. Boy, yo, they gonna fly with kite now. The wind picking up.
I'm coming. Karim, what you doing?
Fly my kite.
Yeah, but not here. You can't fly kite near power lines, boy.
Why not? The wind good.
Because mommy say kite threads conduct electricity.
Yeah, kite. It's right. If your kite gets stuck in power lines, you can cause power outages, or even worse, it can get shocked.
Come, let's go and fly them in the pasture.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Grenlink, energizing our Grenada.
Rise and shine. Rise and shine.